Okay, have you ever had one of those brilliant, game-changing ideas that just, poof, fizzles out? Yeah, we've all been there. But what if I told you the key to making a massive change isn't some giant, risky leap? What if it's actually a series of small, smart steps? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, the power of the pilot intervention. And this quote, it just nails it. Action research isn't about massive, risky overhauls. It's about small, systematic leaps for change. I mean, think about that. It's such a powerful shift in mindset, right? It's all about moving away from these high-stakes revolutions and leaning into a much smarter kind of evolution. All right, so first up, let's tackle what I like to call the grand plans problem. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That moment of inspiration hits and you map out this huge total transformation. It feels so exciting, so ambitious, and yet so often it's just destined to fall flat. But why? Why do our big plans fail so often? Well, it really comes down to a few key things. You've got this paralyzing fear of failure. Then there's the natural resistance people have to massive change. And of course, just the sheer complexity of it all. It's basically a perfect recipe for stalling out before you even get started. So what if there's a better way, a smarter way? This is where the whole idea of the power of small leaps comes into play. Instead of that huge, risky revolution, we can use these smart, contained experiments to actually drive change. And that, right there, is the very essence of a pilot intervention. Just look at the difference here. On one side, you have the massive overhaul. It's super high risk, it's slow to get off the ground, and you don't find out if it even works until it's way too late. But a pilot intervention, it's the total opposite. It's low risk, you can get it started quickly, and you start learning things immediately. It's all about building that momentum and gathering real data right from day one. So what is a pilot intervention exactly? Let's get a clear definition. I love this analogy. Think of it like a movie trailer. You're not releasing the whole 3-hour film all at once, right? No way. You're showing a small, carefully selected piece to see how the audience reacts. It's the perfect low-stakes way to get real-world feedback before you go for the big, full-scale launch. Okay, that's the theory. But how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice? Let's get into the nuts and bolts of designing your very own pilot intervention. The whole process is actually pretty simple, but really powerful. First up, step 1. You design the intervention. This is your blueprint. Ask yourself, what exactly are we testing here? What do we think is going to happen? Who needs to be involved? The key is to keep it super focused. Then, step 2, implementation. This is where you just do it. You get it out there in the real world, not just on a spreadsheet, and see what happens. And finally, step 3, and this is kind of the secret sauce, flexibility and patience. Look, things are not going to go perfectly, and that's totally okay. That's the whole point. The goal here is to learn, not to be perfect from the get-go. And really, that's the main goal. It's all about creating a realistic, achievable action plan that is tailored to your unique situation. This is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It has to fit your team, your project, your goals. To have any real impact, it has to be grounded in your reality. Okay, now we get to what I think is the most powerful part of this entire process, the adjustment cycle. Seriously, this is the real engine of learning. It's this little mini loop that takes your pilot from just a simple test and turns it into a dynamic, evolving strategy. And this is where it gets really cool. This adjustment cycle, it isn't some separate step you do later. No, it's a loop that happens inside the main action phase. So you're not just running the plan and then looking at the results at the very end. You're actively course correcting while the plane is still in the air. It's this constant process of learning and adapting in real time. You're not just doing, you're learning while you're doing. So the cycle starts with the trial. This is it. This is where the rubber meets the road. You launch your little experiment. You roll out that new process. You put your idea to the test with real people in the real world. And then right away, you move into adjustment. Based on what you're seeing, what you're learning, you start to tweak things. You pivot, you refine your approach. It's all about making those small, immediate changes on the fly to make it better. It's this quick, continuous back and forth. And listen, these aren't just random guesses. These are smart adjustments based on the data you're seeing as it comes in. They happen midstream, not at the very end. And that is what drives continuous improvement. It's what turns a simple pilot into this powerful engine that makes sure your final plan is tested, refined, and totally ready for success. So, what does this all boil down to? What's the big takeaway? If you remember just one thing from all of this, I want it to be this. You don't need to move mountains all at once to make a real difference. That lasting, meaningful change, it comes from small, smart, systematic steps. It's all about harnessing the power of starting small to achieve something truly, truly big. So I'm going to leave you with a question. A challenge, really. Forget about that huge, daunting project for just a second. Instead, ask yourself this. What is one small, low-risk leap you could take this week? What tiny experiment could you try that might just be the very first step towards something amazing?